What's up everyone, this is Tony with JRNYcrypto. In this video, we're going to be going over a very important topic, and that's the fact that regulations are kicking in at a rapid pace, and this is adding more fear to the markets. So we're going to discuss the possibility of entering a temporary bear market from all the regulations that are happening. We did get a warning from UBS that regulators could pop bubble-like crypto markets. So we are going to go over this and all the recent regulation news and my thoughts on this and the possibility of entering a bear market because of this. Alright guys, so I did get a lot of mixed feedback on the new video style with the camera being on the right and the content on the left. Some people suggesting they want the content bigger, but it's actually just as big as the previous videos. And all I'm doing is blocking out the sidebar and the ads with the camera, which I do think looks cleaner and puts more of a focus on the content. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'm trying to improve the channel as much as possible. Alright guys, so jumping into the crypto markets, we have Bitcoin down 2%, while altcoins are down 5 to 10%. Ethereum down at 9%, Dogecoin down around 9%, some altcoins down even more like Solana, and Internet Computer just keeps getting slammed, basically on a steady downtrend since the launch, where it did peak out over $700 very briefly, now under $40. So a lot of altcoins really getting slammed. Some of these altcoins though have a promising future and will stick around for the very long term, and these could be optimal entry points. So it is a good idea to have your entry and exit strategy planned out, and if you are in the crypto space for the long term, dollar cost averaging on the dips definitely plays out quite well. So we do have the possibility of entering a bear market from all the regulations kicking in. We did have an article on this a couple days ago pointing this out. So investors stay clear. UBS warns regulators could pop bubble-like crypto markets. So we do have regulations kicking in at a rapid pace right now. We're getting news of this day after day, basically. Countries considering regulations, some already putting them into effect, and some countries blocking transactions from Binance as well. So I'm going to go over some of the recent regulation news and give you guys my thoughts on regulations and the effect it will have on the market in both the short and long term, and give you guys my trading strategies going forward as well to pick up some optimal deals. So the Swiss multinational investment banking giant UBS has warned its clients that crypto assets are unsuitable for professional investors if regulatory pressure continues. Obviously, pressure will continue with regulations. We're seeing that day after day in the past couple weeks. After the recent market crash, it is forcing a lot of countries to look into this. There is a ton of scams as well. So regulations are necessary, in my opinion. It's very good for the crypto space in the very long term. So in the short term, it will cause some dips in the market depending on what country it is and how bad the regulations are. Some countries will just straight up ban cryptocurrencies, while others will just try to regulate it to prevent scams. That's the big problem with the crypto space. Right now, it's the Wild West. We have a massive amount of scams running rampant in the crypto space. So I do think regulations will further legitimize the crypto space in the long term, help prevent a lot of scams, and just make the crypto space a safer place in general. So regulators have demonstrated they can and will crack down on crypto, so we suggest investors stay clear and build their portfolio around less risky assets. So in my opinion, less risky assets also have less profit potential, which is why I like the crypto space so much. It's newer, there's high profit potential. If you're buying at the right times, it will be the best investment of your lifetime. So you do have to keep that in mind while going to the stock market or other markets, which can also see a market crash, which we are seeing a lot of experts predicting crashes in real estate, the stock market, and everything else as well. So the economy is really being shaken up right now. We have no idea what's going to happen going forward. One thing is certain though, that inflation is kicking in at a rapid pace, and this will cause the prices of cryptocurrencies to go up in the long term. So while UBS acknowledged that further crypto gains could be possible, it emphasized the risks the speculative asset class could pose to investors. So they did admit it's very possible crypto gains could continue in the future, which I do think will be happening by end of year. And I do think we will get good sized bumps along the way here. And I do think we will be seeing a good price spike at some point in July. So while we can't rule out further price gains in cryptos, we see this as a speculative market that poses significant risks to professional investors. The Swiss bank also warned about leverage trading, stating crypto trading practices such as extending 50x or 100x leverage appear fundamentally at odds with mainstream finance regulations. So that's another thing really screwing over a lot of new investors, is a lot of people pushing leverage trading without these new investors being properly educated on leverage trading. They just go blindly in. They do a good trade and they see how much money they can make off of this, and then they go all in and lose all their money. I've heard of this time and time again. So the renewed Chinese crackdown on Bitcoin mining operations, which began in late April, has seen mixed analysis from the crypto community, with some arguing the migration of hash power from China offers the Bitcoin mining industry an opportunity to improve its ecological footprint and to further decentralize the network. So this is very true. There's both negatives and positives to this. In my opinion, it's very positive for the long term of crypto, and that's how I'm investing anyways, is for the very long term. So this is a great thing in my opinion. But to those that are short term in the crypto space and just bought in expecting to get a quick 5x and wanting to pull out by end of year, this is definitely something that will cause volatility in the short term. So China is full out attacking Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. They're creating their own digital currency, which I do think is a bad thing, and is a major reason why the United States and other countries have to take cryptocurrency seriously. I do think many countries are going digital, and cryptocurrencies will grow alongside this, and this will only further legitimize the crypto space as well in the long term. So something else huge here is the ecological footprint that Bitcoin mining has on the world, and the China crackdown is really helping us out with hitting that 50% clean energy goal. So this is the reason why Tesla stopped accepting Bitcoin as payment, and Elon Musk did state they would start accepting Bitcoin as payment again once we hit 50% clean energy or more. And I do think that's likely to happen by end of year at this point, since China has pretty much kicked out all of their miners, and all of the new facilities being set up are being done so with clean energy. A lot of people around the world really pushing for this as well, because they know institutions are not going to take this seriously and buy massive amounts of Bitcoin until this problem is solved. So very possible that kicks us back into the bull market by end of year when we do hit that goal. If we get news that Tesla is accepting Bitcoin as payment again, expect a huge pump that day. That's just how things are going to play out, in my opinion. So UBS prediction already appears to be coming true, with the United Kingdom's Financial Conduct Authority taking action against the world's largest digital asset, Binance. So Binance has been getting a lot of heat lately as well, really not catching a break. So UK financial watchdog orders Binance to halt regulated activity in the country. So we also had a warning issued from Japan and some other countries also cracking down on this. And then we did see Barclays tells cardholders it's stopping payments to Binance. So people can no longer buy cryptocurrency on Binance using the Barclays bank. So in my opinion, I would never use a bank that tries to prevent me from doing what I want with my money, especially if it's currently legal. I don't think they really have any say in this, and anyone that does use a bank that tries to do this, I think should switch banks and stop doing business with that bank. So we did have breaking news. Binance suspends Euro bank transfers amid regulatory heat. So the regulations are really rolling out rapidly right now. We are getting a lot of news like this causing extra panic, even though we have a lot of good news in the markets as well, and some data suggesting a supply shock is happening to Bitcoin, since so many whales and new investors are accumulating a lot of Bitcoin at these lower prices and taking it off exchanges out of circulation. So if we do get a massive spike of demand at some point, it's really going to be a lot easier for crypto to surge and break that major resistance. So I do think in July, it's very likely we will have a good bounce, testing major resistance around $40,000 Bitcoin. But I do believe that this accumulation phase will be extended depending on how bad regulations get. So Binance's CEO did comment on this, stating that compliance is a journey. The crypto industry has massively evolved since Binance's launch 4 years ago, but it still needs more regulatory certainty. So Binance is probably the fastest growing company in the entire world that I've watched, starting as a new company only shortly before the peak of the last bull market around mid 2017. They closed their doors during the last bull market because they just couldn't handle all the traffic, and they've grown massively since then and really upgraded everything and all their platforms. So compliance is a journey, especially in new sectors like crypto. The industry still has a lot of uncertainty. We also recognize that with growth comes more complexity and more responsibility. And he did state here that Binance has grown its international compliance team and advisory board by 500% since 2020, including appointments from major global regulators such as the Financial Action Task Force. So they are taking this seriously. Regulations are inevitable. They are the biggest exchange. So of course, Binance is going to be targeted first here. So we do have some news today. Russian lawmakers prepare legal amendment to confiscate crypto. Russian's prosecutor general Says new crypto regulations are needed to combat corruption, as in his view, digital assets are often used to facilitate crime. So the thing about crypto is it's on the blockchain, it can be tracked, and you can see where the money is going. With cash, you cannot see this. So cash is used for crime much more than cryptocurrencies are. I do think a lot of countries do need to realize this. So some countries are full out trying to ban cryptocurrencies, some are putting in regulations at different levels, and some do want to adopt cryptocurrency as well. And we have some news here. Argentine lawmaker introduces bill for workers to be paid in crypto. So we are seeing some countries, some smaller countries trying to adopt cryptocurrency, which is definitely a good thing. So we've already had El Salvador make Bitcoin legal tender, and we do have a couple other countries considering this now as well. So depending on how that plays out for El Salvador, I do think more countries will adopt and make Bitcoin legal tender if they have good results, especially some of the smaller countries that have hyperinflation with their fiat currencies. So lots of big things here. By end of year, I wouldn't be surprised to see a couple more countries accepting Bitcoin as legal tender. If we have that next to a few more institutions buying up $1 billion of Bitcoin or more, I think that's the push we need to get back over a $100,000 Bitcoin by end of year. And I do think this is very possible and very reasonable. So more good news today, Bank of Jamaica to begin digital currency pilot in August. So it's pretty interesting. We're getting a split here between countries trying to adopt and benefit from cryptocurrencies while other countries are fighting it and regulating it. So this will be playing out throughout the summer. It will cause panic in the space, and it will have a lot of people waiting this out before they enter the markets again. There's billions of dollars on the sidelines waiting to see where the markets are headed, if they could get lower entries, or if the crypto space really will be on an uptrend back to all-time highs and breaking $100,000 Bitcoin by end of year. So with major regulations kicking in, depending on the country and how bad it is, that'll be dependent on how bad the market crash is, if that does happen, and if we do get another major dip. So this is why I do dollar cost averaging and spread out my purchases, and I pretty much only buy major dips. I never buy peak prices, and if you guys do buy a peak price or at an all-time high, you should be prepared to hold that very long term, because more likely than not, it will have a correction, especially in a sideways market like this. Pretty much any cryptocurrency that pumps in the short term will come back down and have a correction. Until we get into a solid uptrend in the markets, I don't think a lot of altcoins are really going to be surging. But once we do get into a solid uptrend, I do think altcoins are going to have massive return on investment again, like we saw beginning of year with some altcoins doing 5 to 10x in a short period of time. Just like when Bitcoin is dropping, altcoins drop more. When Bitcoin is going up, altcoins go up more as well. So my entry strategy here is to buy all the major dips and to spread out my purchases. Anytime I get a paycheck, I put a certain percent of that aside and wait for major dips to buy and accumulate more cryptocurrency for the very long term. And I specifically try to stick to cryptocurrencies that have opportunities for passive income and that I can make some extra income on the side while I'm just waiting for the cryptocurrency to appreciate anyways. So that's it for today's video. Regulations are inevitable. I do think it's good in the long term. In the short term, we have no idea what's going to happen, and I do think it's very likely we will test the Bitcoin in the 20,000s at some point. It could be temporary, it could be extended. We have no idea here. No one could predict these markets 100% accurately, and we do have to keep in mind these are newer markets and much more volatile, so we really are at mercy of manipulation here. But like Michael Saylor said, all it's going to take to pump this back to all-time highs is one dude coming into the space with $10 billion, deciding he wants to buy a huge position of Bitcoin, and then a bunch of people follow. So I do think that will happen when we least expect it. So I'm still bullish on cryptocurrencies end of year. I am dollar cost averaging and taking this as opportunity, buying any decent dip that we have. I did buy some altcoins today with this dip, and I did buy last week as well. So that's it for today's video on crypto regulations and the possibility of regulations sending us into a bear market. Keep in mind anything is possible here in the short term, but in the long term, I think anyone dollar cost averaging dips is going to be very successful. That's why Senator Loomis said you should accumulate Bitcoin for retirement, because in the very long term, when you do zoom out, any of these peak bull markets are going to look very small. Even the last peak bull market, if you bought Bitcoin at 20,000, you're still in profit today, even after the recent market crash. So we do have to keep that in mind. I think having a long-term approach to cryptocurrencies is a much better idea than jumping into the space with all your money and expecting a 10x and then dumping everything and leaving the space as soon as the markets drop. So take this as an opportunity to refine your entry and exit strategies, and you will be more successful in the long term. So that's it for today's video. I hope you guys found it useful. If you did, I appreciate you guys commenting, liking the video, sharing this video with anyone that would find this useful as well. And I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video.